Hey guys, we're going to be wrapping up chapter 2 right now. So, really good job on submitting your vocab quizzes and your notes. Looks like most of you are doing fine. Um, Again, if you need some additional help, I know Miss Sui has started to do some Zoom sessions on her own. I know Miss Brooks has been working on her own with some students. So, if you need an extra session, just reach out to any of us and we will open a Zoom and answer some questions for you. All right. Julia, I'm doing tomorrow's notes. I know you're always here early. So I'm going to finish up chapter 2 today with you guys, and then you should take your chapter 2 quiz. Okay. So today, when you get started, the first thing that we are going to do is work on a journal. So the journal today asks you to consider why are people violent? And on the opposite side of that, why are there people in the world who are not violent, who practice nonviolence? Hi, people in my live chat. Yep, you're finishing day 3 today. I'm recording tomorrow's lesson. So hey Noe and hey Julia, but I'm just recording ahead of time right now. Love you for showing up though. All right, so pause the video here if you can, guys, and you're gonna write 10 lines for your journal. Why might people be violent in their lives? What might cause that? And why do people behave non-violently or believe in non-violence? All right, when you're done, come back here. Okay. After your journal's done, the next slide tells you that we're going to begin studying our vocabulary. I'm going to put the list in our chat. So again, you guys should be playing on vocabulary.com at least 5 minutes a day, if not more. I'm definitely upgrading my subscription so I can see more information on how much time you guys are spending on the app. Like I said, it's really useful for high school placement testing. It's like probably the best thing you can do to study vocabulary. The words that we are studying this week are, we're going to start at number 6. So the first word is acquire. If you acquire something, it means that you're going to win it through your effort, okay? It said that Two-Bit acquired his switchblade through stealing. So he got it through the effort of stealing. The 7th word on our list is the next word we're going to talk about is unfathomable. It means that something is impossible for you to understand, right? Unfathomable. It says he liked fights, blondes, and for some unfathomable reason, school. So still talking about Two-Bit. Number 8, organized. So we were talking about Dallas being in an organized gang. It's an efficient arrangement or a function. Our next word, 9, is suspicious. Openly distrustful and unwilling to confide. So if you are distrustful of other people, you might be suspicious of them. And our final word is surround. So to extend on all sides simultaneously, to encircle. So there's going to be a lot of situations where the two gangs that we read about are fighting and they're going to surround each other or make a circle. That really, it brings you back to Lord of the Flies, right? When they made a circle and they beat the other kids up. All right, so if you would like to, you can pause the video to make sure you do your 5 minutes of practice. Remember, we're trying to log, as much time as we can studying these vocabulary words. All right, now to the good stuff. Today we're going to answer 3 questions together and read pages, 4 questions together and read pages 27 to 31. Now again, my pages might not line up, so I'm just going to double check because I am reading out of the actual book while you guys are reading off of the link. I'm going to put the link in our chat to the story. So if you would like to open the story to read along with me, that would be great. All right, so you guys left off technically around page 26 in the book. Might take me a second to find it. I wish I could pause it right now because I can't find it. Sorry, guys. Okay, I only think I found it. Wow, that was 3 awkward minutes. I feel like they typed this differently than the book. I'm going to have to redo this whole thing. Oh my gosh. Okay, you guys ended on the bottom of 24. So after all that, I wish I could share my screen with you. You ended talking about the being like a pack, right? The difference between, you know, a gang and a pack of snarling dogs. So we're going to start with he'd leave you alone. So here is the beginning of the paragraph. If you're looking for it, I'll put it in the chat. It's going to be so cringy to watch back and see me being silent for like 5 straight minutes looking for that. Julia, sorry. We do day 3 today. Yeah, you guys should have done submitted your notes today. We're starting a new set tomorrow. Again, if you guys are trying to figure out where we're at, the online text is about 2 pages off from the version that I'm using. So just a little bit of searching. All right. The first question we're listening for too, as I read, Pony is developing feelings for who and what group are they a part of? Number 2, what literary device does the author use to describe Johnny getting mugged? How does this develop a picture of what happened to Johnny? And how does the author use detail and description to show what happened to Johnny? All right. He'd leave you alone if he knew you, I said. And that was true. When Steve's cousin from Kansas came down, Dally was decent to her, and he watched his swearing. We all did this around nice girls who weren't the cousinly type. I don't know how to explain it. We try to be nice to girls that we see once in a while, like cousins or the girls in class, but we still watch a nice girl go by on the street corner and we say all kinds of lousy stuff to her. Don't ask me why. I don't know why. Well, Marcia said with finality, I'm glad he doesn't know us. I kind of admire him, Cherry said softly, so only I heard. And then we settled down to watch the movie. Oh yeah, we found out why they were without a car. They'd come with their boyfriends, but walked out on them when they found out that the boys had brought some booze along. The boys had gotten angry and left. I don't care if they did, Cherry sounded annoyed. It's not my idea of a good time to sit in a drive-in and watch people get drunk. So guys, I'm just gonna kind of pause there. Think to yourself, like, what kind of character is Cherry so far? She's pretty like outspoken. Um, she wants to protect herself and her friend, and also she doesn't agree with the boys that they went with trying to drink at this movie theater, right? So she seems to be someone who has pretty strong beliefs and she wants to stick by them. I do like Cherry's character right now in this text. Okay. You could tell by the way that she said it that her idea of a good time was probably high class, probably expensive. They decided to stay and see the movie anyway. It was one of those beach party movies with no plot and acting, but a lot of girls in bikinis and some swinging songs, so it was alright. We were we were all four sitting there in silence, and then suddenly a headstrong hand came down on Johnny's shoulder, and another one on mine, and a deep voice said, "Okay, greasers, you've had it." I almost jumped out of my skin. It was like having someone leap out from behind a door and yell "boo" at you. I looked fearfully over my shoulder, and there was Two-Bit, grinning like a Chessy cat. Glory, Two-Bit, scare us to death. He was good at voice imitations, and had sounded for all the world like a snarling Soch. Then I looked at Johnny. His eyes were shut, and he was white as a ghost. His breath was coming in smothered gasps. Two-Bit knew better than to scare Johnny like that. I guess he'd forgotten. He's kind of scatterbrained. Johnny opened his eyes and said weakly, "Hey, Two-Bit." Two-Bit messed up his hair. "Sorry, kid. I forgot." So again, guys, they are referencing Johnny being attacked by the Socs. So it's definitely had a really dramatic impact on him. He feels, um, scarred from being beat up by these people, and just that even one hand on his shoulder brought him back to that moment. So he has maybe some post-traumatic stress going on. All right. He climbed over the chair and plopped down beside Marcia. "Who is this, your great aunt's?" "Great grandmother's, twice removed," Cherry said smoothly. I couldn't tell if Two-Bit was drunk or not. It's kind of hard to tell with him. He acts boozed up sometimes, even when he's sober. He cocked one eyebrow up and the other down, which he always does when something puzzles him, or bothers him, or when he feels like saying something smart. "Shoot, you're at 96 if you're a day." "I'm a knight," Marcia said brightly. Two-Bit stared at her admiringly. "Brother, you're a sharp one. Where'd you two ever get picked up by a couple of greasy hoods like Pony and Johnny?" "We really picked them up," Marcia said. "We're really Arabian slave traders, and we're thinking about shanghaiing them. They're worth 10 camels apiece, at least." "5," Two-Bit disagreed. "They don't talk Arabian, I don't think. Say something in Arabian, Johnny Cake." "Aw, cut it out," Johnny broke in. Dally was bothering them, and when he left, they wanted to sit with them to they wanted us to sit with them to protect them against wisecracking greasers like you, probably. Two-Bit grinned, because Johnny didn't usually get sassy like that. "We thought we were doing good if we could get him to talk at all. Incidentally, we don't mind being called Greaser by another greaser. It's kind of playful then." "Hey, where is Dally anyways?" "He went hunting some action, booze or dames or a fight. I hope you don't get jailed again. You just got out." "He'll probably find a fight," Two-Bit stated cheerfully. "That's why I came over. Mr. Timothy Sheppard and Co. are looking for whoever so kindly slashed their tires. And since Mr. Curly Sheppard spotted Dallas doing it, well, does Dally have a bleed?" "Not that I know of," I said. "I think he's got a pipe, but he busted his bleed this morning." "Good. Tim will fight fair if Dally don't pull a blade on him. Dally shouldn't have any trouble." Alright, this is probably the second or third time the Sheppard gang is mentioned. So, Tim Sheppard is the leader of the Sheppard gang. Him and Dallas have kind of a rivalry between them. You're going to see them fight a few times during the text. But at the end of the day, they never truly hurt each other, and they actually do stick up for each other in certain situations and fight side by side. So it's kind of a weird friendship or relationship, but they fight and they also are somewhat supportive of each other. I know, weird things. All right. I think we're still trying to find text evidence. Obviously, for number one, we can fill that in, right? We know who Pony has feelings for, so write that character in the blank. We know what group she belongs to. I'm not really seeing us yet talk about Johnny's muggings yet, or what happened to Johnny, but we do know that the impact on him so far is that he's pretty scared. All right. A fair fight isn't rough, Two-Bit said. Blades are rough. So are chains and heaters and pool sticks and rumbles. Skin fighting isn't rough. It blows off steam better than anything. There's nothing wrong with throwing a few punches. Socials are rough. They gang up on one or two, or they rumble each other with their social clubs. Us greasers usually stick together, but when we do fight among ourselves, it's a fair fight between two. And Dally deserves whatever he gets, cause slash tires ain't no joke when you've got to work to pay for them. He got spotted too, and that was his fault. Our one rule besides stick together is don't get caught. He might get beat up, he might not. Either way, there's not going to be any blood feud between our outfit and Sheppard's. If we need them tomorrow, they'd show. If Tim beats Dally's head in, and then tomorrow asks for help in a rumble, we'll show. Dally was getting kicks. He got caught, he pays up. No sweat. Yeah, boy, Cherry said sarcastically. Real simple. Sure, Marcia said, unconcerned. If he gets killed or something, you just bury him. No sweat. You dig okay, baby. Two-Bit grinned and lit a cigarette. Anyone want a weed? So again, guys, some terms in here that are, things we're not used to is like the police were referred to as fuzz. A heater was just brought up. A heater is actually a gun. And then right now when he said if anyone wants a weed, he means a cigarette. I looked at Two-Bit admiringly. He sure put things into words good. Maybe he was still a junior at 18 and a half, and maybe his sideburns were too long, and maybe he did get boozed up too much, but he sure understood things. Harry and Marcia shook their heads at his offering of cigarettes, but Johnny and I reached for one. Johnny's color was back, and his breathing was regular, but his hand was shaking ever so slightly. A cigarette would steady it. So I'm going to copy that from page 28, because while this isn't quite the evidence we're looking for just yet, we're seeing an impact on Johnny from the socius, right? He has a physical impact from that beating. His color leaves his face, his breathing is disrupted, and his hands don't stay steady. Pony boy, will you come get some popcorn? Cherry asked. I jumped up. Sure, y'all want some? I do, said Marcia. She was finishing the Coke that Dally had given her. I realized then that Marcia and Cherry weren't alike. Cherry had said she wouldn't drink Dally's Coke if she was starving, and she meant it. It was the principle of the thing. But Marcia saw no reason to throw away a perfectly good free Coke. Me too, said Two-Bit. He flipped me a 50-cent piece. Get Johnny some too. I'm buying, he added as Johnny started to reach for his jeans pocket. We went to the concession stand, and as usual, there was a line a mile long, so we had to wait. Quite a few kids turned to look at us. You didn't see a Kid Grease and associate cheerleader together often. Cherry didn't seem to notice. Your friend, the one with the sideburns, he's okay? He ain't dangerous like Dallas, if that's what you mean. He's okay. She smiled, and her eyes showed that her mind was on something else. Johnny, he's been hurt bad sometime, hasn't he? It was more of a statement than a question. Hurt and scared. It was the socias, I said nervously, because there were plenty of socias milling around, and some of them were giving me funny looks, as if I couldn't be with Cherry or something. I don't like to talk about it either, Johnny getting beat up, I mean, but I started in talking a little faster than I usually do because I don't like to think about it either. Okay, finally. So our questions are really going to begin. So questions number 2 and number 4. So we're going to have 2, 3, and 4 are all going to start on page 29, our online text. Okay, so we're listening for the first question. So what type of figurative language or literary device is the author using to describe what happened to Johnny? That's first. Then we're just kind of summarizing what happened to Johnny. And finally, we're gonna describe how the author uses detail to show what happened to Johnny. Okay, so 3 different answers and evidence here. It was almost 4 months ago. I had walked down to the DX station to get a bottle of pop and see Steve and soda, because they'll always buy me a couple of bottles and let me help to work on cars. I don't like to go on weekends because there's usually a bunch of girls down there flirting with soda. All kinds of girls. Socials too. I don't care too much for girls yet. Soda says I'll grow out of it. He did. It was a warmish spring day with the sun shining bright, but it was getting chilly and dark by the time we started for home. We were walking because we had left Steve's car at the station. At the corner of the block, there was a wide open field where we play football and hang out, and it's often a site for rumbles and fist fights. We were passing it, kicking rocks down the street, finishing our last bottle of Pepsi, when Steve noticed something lying on the ground. He picked it up. It was Johnny's blue jeans jacket, the only jacket he had. It's like Johnny forgot his jacket, Steve said, slinging it over his shoulder to take it to Johnny's house. Suddenly he opened it and examined it more carefully. There was the stain the color of rust on the collar. All right. So the first piece of evidence that we have, we definitely have some imagery here, right? And this is still page 29. Right, in the chat, guys, I'm kind of explaining like the literary device I'm seeing right away is imagery, because when they said that there's a rust color on his jean jacket, I can see that bloody color across the jacket. I can see it in the grass. All right, our next question. As I read, guys, you're kind of summarizing what actually did happen to Johnny. So far, all we know is that there's blood on his coat and on the ground. He looked up across the field with a stricken expression on his face. I think we all heard the low moan and saw the dark, motionless hump on the other side of the lot at the same time. Soda reached him first. Johnny was lying face down on the ground. Soda turned him over gently, and I nearly got sick. Someone had beaten him badly. We were used to seeing Johnny banged up, his father clobbering him around a lot, and although it made us madder than heck, we couldn't do anything about it. But those beatings had been nothing like this. Johnny's face was cut up and bruised and swollen. There was a wide gash from his temple to his cheekbone. He would carry that scar all his life. His white t-shirt had been splattered with blood. I just stood there trembling with a sudden cold. I thought he might be dead. Surely nobody could be beaten like that and live. Steve closed his eyes for a second and muffled a groan as he dropped to his knees beside Soda. Somehow the gang had sensed what happened. Two-Bit was suddenly there beside me, and for once his comical grin had gone and his dancing gray eyes were stormy. Derry had seen us from the porch and ran toward us, suddenly skidding to a halt. Dally was there too, swearing under his breath and turning away with a sick expression. I wondered about it vaguely. Dally had seen people killed on the streets of New York's west side. Why did he look sick now? Johnny? Soda lifted him up and held him against his shoulder. He gave his limp body a slight shake. Hey, Johnny Cake. Johnny didn't open his eyes, but there came a soft question. Soda? Yeah, it's me, Soda Pop said. Don't talk, you're gonna be okay. Right. This is where you guys can get your evidence for summarizing what happened to Johnny. He's gonna tell them. There was a whole bunch of them, Johnny went on, swallowing, ignoring Soda's command. A blue Mustang full. I got so scared. He tried to swear, but suddenly he started crying, fighting to control himself, and then sobbing more because he couldn't. I'd seen Johnny take a whipping with a 2x4 from his old man, and he never let out a whimper. That made it worse to see him break now. Soda just held him and pushed Johnny's hair back out of his eyes. It's okay, Johnny Cake, they're gone now, it's okay. Finally, between sobs, Johnny managed to gasp out his story. He'd been hunting our football to practice a few kicks when a blue Mustang pulled up beside the lot. There were 4 socials in it. They caught him, and one of them had a lot of rings on his hand. That's why Johnny was cut up so badly. It wasn't just that they had beaten him half to death. He could take that. They had scared him. They had threatened him with everything under the sun. Johnny was high-strung anyway, a nervous wreck from getting belted every time he turned a corner and hearing his parents fight all the time. Living in those conditions might have turned someone else rebellious and bitter. It was killing Johnny. He'd never been a coward. He was a good man in a rumble. He stuck up for the gang. He kept his mouth shut good around the cops. But after that night, after the night of the beating, Johnny was jumpier than ever. I didn't think he'd ever get over it. Johnny never walked by himself after that. And Johnny, who was the most law-abiding, now carried in his back pocket a 6-inch switchblade. He'd use it too if he ever got jumped again. They had scared him that much. He would kill the next person who jumped him. Nobody was ever going to beat him like that again. Not over his dead body. All right. Julia, when I log off of here, I can help you out. That was a lot of reading today. Didn't know. So on page 31, we have our text evidence for number 3. So for number 3, it asks you to put this in your own words, right? So while I do want to like help you out and provide you with text evidence, you should kind of write this in your own words. So Johnny was looking for a football. The blue Mustang kind of rolled up and they beat him. And specifically, guys, we're looking for a character who has lots of rings. He's the one that did the most damage to Johnny. All right. Our final question, how does the author use detail and description to show the reader what happened to Johnny? The author uses a lot of detail and description in terms of maybe flashback. We get lots of images of Johnny being beat as a child and Ponyboy kind of saying that, you know, nothing has impacted him quite like this, right? We have situations where like his dad's beating him with a 2x4. We have situations where his dad's punching him. So flashback kind of allows us to see Johnny and the abuse that he has endured. And again, we would just kind of go back up. I think it was in page 30. So even at the bottom of page 30, this isn't the best piece of evidence. You can definitely use something else. But, you know, he's used to getting beat, and the author's trying to show us that this beating is nothing like that. Okay, so pretty long class today. I apologize for kind of not knowing where the reading was for a few minutes. You should have been able to finish 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right. You studied your vocab and did your do now. So that should be it for today. If you need anything from me, reach out, send me a message, and we'll finish up this chapter tomorrow. Bye, guys.